Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF. Bava Metzia, DAF Mem Dalet. We are at the Mishnah on Mem Gimel and Beis, 7 lines off the bottom. If a shomer who is entrusted with an item contemplates and actually, according to Rashi and Tosfos, expressed verbally his intention to actually misuse the item and divert it for personal use. What happens now? That constitutes shlichus yad. Even though he hadn't yet physically touched it, he already is considered like a gazlan and assumes full responsibility even for accidental loss. Chayev. No, he doesn't get that status until he actually uses it. So the point is, you're not meant to touch it, otherwise you're a shaleach yad. He didn't touch it yet. Now, let's say he actually physically approaches the barrel of wine that he was entrusted with, and he just tipped it without actually lifting it up. And he siphoned off a revius of wine for personal use. And then the barrel breaks by accident. Is he fully responsible? No, he pays for the revius because he didn't really do a full shalichus yad, because he didn't really pick up the item. He didn't do a kinyan. But if he lifted the entire barrel, and then siphoned off a revius, a small amount of wine, and then it breaks, Mishal Mekula pays for the full barrel, because now he acquired the barrel through a kinyan hagbah. He's a full shaleach yad. He's like a gazlan. He's chayiv even for an accident, for an einus. Minan immediately, let's go back to Beis Shammai. Even by simply expressing verbally your intent, you're already considered a gazlan. How do we know this? Tanu Rabbanon, al kol dvar pesha, verbals. So that also constitutes a violation. Beis Shammai omrim malamid shechayev al machshava kemas. Even machshava, in this case machshava means intent expressed verbally. It constitutes like a masa. Has the same level as a masa, as though he actually misused it and he's chayev. Until he actually uses it. He reached out to it. What happened to our pasuk? I'll call dvar pesha, even verbals. What about our pasuk? He physically contacted the item. If that's so, says the Gemara according to Beis Hillel, I'll call dvar pesha, right? So Beis Hillel is conceding. I mean, what does dvar pesha mean? It's coming to tell you something entirely different. That even if you made a shaliach, you sent somebody to be shaliach yad, you're chayev, which is a chiddush. Sheyachad enli Allahu. Perhaps the status of shaliach yad only applies to the person himself who is shaliach yad. What about if he asked somebody else to do it on his behalf? Omar la'avdo yishlucha, he asked his eved or shliach to divert this deposit for personal use. Minayin, how do we know that the shomer is responsible? Because he is the mishaleach. Tamalei makol dvar pesha, even through verbals, such as appointing somebody to be shliach yad on your behalf, you're chayiv, which is a chiddush. Typically, ein shliach l'dvar avera. Typically, when a person sends someone to do somebody improper for him, the person himself is liable, not the sender. But we have 3 exceptions, one of which is shaleach yad, learn from this pasuk. The other 2 are meila, right? If a person asks somebody to misuse hekdesh property for him, or when a person stole an animal and they shecht the animal, tvicha, mechira, sell, or they shecht it, even if it was done through a shliach, the ganav is chayev 4 or 5 times as much. He does achavas. Now, if he actually made physical contact with a barrel of wine, but he just tipped it, and he took off a little bit, he's only chayiv for that little bit. That's only because it broke. It's an einus. And on the one hand, he didn't really do a kinyan. On the other hand, there was an einus, so he's not chayiv. Aval, hechmitza. But if the content of this wine barrel went sour due to his siphoning off that revius, which created that sort of oxidization effect, mishalem is kula, because it's no longer vacuum packed, and he himself caused that directly, and therefore he's fully responsible for the entire barrel. My time, magir day, it's like his arrows. He directly caused this loss. Now, if he lifted the whole barrel and he took a bit off it, in this case he did a full kinyan, he's fully chayiv. Amar Shmuel, you should know, loy notal, even though the Mishnah speaks about him taking, notal mamish, it doesn't necessarily mean he actually took off some wine. Rather, since he intended, when he lifted, this was his plan, I'm going to take off some wine, even though he didn't actually take off the wine. He's chayiv. And Rashi explains, you know why? Oh, the Gemara soon will explain why. First, the Gemara is the kasha. Leimuka savar Shmuel. Shlichus yad einat tzricha chisaron. The Shmuel hold that even without actually diminishing the item, without actually, depreciating the item, you have committed shlichus yad, which is a machlokes. Does Shmuel mean to say that? And therefore he's liable despite the fact he didn't actually take some wine? No, says the Ma'amid like, no. Here he actually diverted. Why? Shani hacha, denichale. Because he's pleased that the havi, hachavis kula, that the rest of the content in this barrel should serve his purposes, should keep his revius that he plans on taking, keep it company and fresh, and vacuum packed. It should be like to have a hachavis kula buses. It'd be like a base. It's just a term meaning it should keep it company. It should keep it safe and fresh. Lahar revius, this revius that he plans on taking, should be protected by the rest. That's the way it works. When it's all together and vacuum packed tightly in the barrel, then everything stays fresh and good. So the way Rashi explains it is like this: when he lifted the barrel with the intention to take a revius, even though he didn't actually yet take possession of that revius, he didn't remove the revius off the bottle, but it's as though he did so. It's as though he took it and put it right back, because he wants it back there for the time being to keep it safe and fresh. So now he's like using the rest as well. He didn't actually steal the rest, but he's making use of the rest to keep his revius in that barrel safe and fresh, so he's fully responsible for everything. Boy Ravashi, what if he stole a coin out of a money pouch? Higbiya Arnaki, so the Shomer lifted the money pouch, which was entrusted in his care, with the intention to take just a little bit, one coin, litoil himeno dinar, to take out a dinar. Ma, what is the halacha here? Chamru hudloi minter ela agav chamru. So, yeah, when it comes to wine is really only protected when it's amongst other wine, meaning when it's sitting in a full barrel, then everything protects each other, as we explained. So he's really making use of the whole thing. Abel Zuzah minter, but a coin? One coin doesn't need other coins as company. It can be fully safe and secure just by itself. So basically, even though he planned on taking one coin, we don't apply this concept. It's as though he took and put it back to keep company. No, there's no point in doing that. So therefore, until he actually takes it, he hasn't taken it yet. Yeah, it's comparable to the barrel of wine. It's easier to keep an eye on a full money pouch. I mean, Terusa the Dino, rather than just looking after one coin, which can easily get stolen or lost. So perhaps we can apply the same concept here as well. And basically, by lifting up this pouch with the intention of taking one coin, we look at it as though he already took it, but he's leaving it there for the time being to enhance its safety and security. Take it, we leave it as an unresolved question. So bottom line, if one actually reaches out and touches the item under his care, he's a shilei echad, he's fully responsible. What if he's just planning and he expresses that verbally? Misham say yochayev, Besil will disagree. Hadron lachamafkid. Continues a new Mishnah, a new parak. Hazov koines hakesef. So basically the concept behind this Mishnah is like this. When one engages in commerce, he pays for an item. The halacha is, in order to really to really acquire the item that he's buying, to complete that transaction, to complete the process, what is required? A meshicha. You have to actually physically pull the item into your possession. And it's the item that you have to do meshicha on, not the money, rather the item. The item that constitutes commodity, constitutes merchandise. So basically you pay $1 for a banana. The banana is called the peris. Now peris, as we've said many times, doesn't necessarily mean fruit and vegetables. It just means the item that you're buying, the commodity, the merchandise. Okay, produce, fruit, vegetables, cars, chairs, table, right? And then we have the currency on the other side, which is called, the kesef. But kesef typically can mean silver as well. So that's what the Gemara uses the word tiva. Tiva means, a coined currency, legal tender. Okay? So in the context of our conversation, we're going to have basically two terms to work with. In a typical sale, we have the tiva, what we call money, legal tender. And then we have the peris, which can be a term referring to any sort of commodity or merchandise. And as we explained, in order for the transaction to actually take effect, you have to make a mishicha on the peris, not on the money, on the peris. Hazav koines hakesef. Let's say you're exchanging two types of coins. You have a gold coin, zav, and a silver coin, and you're switching. You're basically buying one with the other. So Reuben has his gold coins, he's handing it to Shimon, who's exchanging it with him for his silver coins. So when does the transaction take place? As soon as you make Meshicha on what? On the Zahav. Because in this context, when it's gold coins vis-a-vis silver coins, the Zahav constitutes the commodity. Because silver in those days were more easily, spent and more readily accepted in the markets. It was a more common currency, a more common coin to be used in transactions and sales. So that constitutes tiva, that's the money, and the Mashiach has to take place on the zav. So as soon as Shimon does Mashiach on the zav, so now the kesef that he was meant to pay Reuben belongs to Reuben. The sale has now been completed and executed. HaKesef ain't a koines hazav, but Mashiach on the kesef, which constitutes legal tender in this regard, doesn't trigger the process and get you the gold. Now, let's say it's silver versus copper. So you have these copper, let's say pennies, prutes. Again, weren't as popular as the silver coins. So the nechayshis vis-a-vis silver, in this case, the nechayshis is the peris, is the commodity, and the kesef is the money. Ha-nechayshis kenes ha-kesef. So the kinyan meshich on the nechayshis triggers the process and gets you the kesef. But on the flip side, if you make a kinyan meshich on the money, on the silver coins, that's money. You can't acquire the nechayshis through that. Another example, Moisa Royce, you have money that's been out of circulation. That doesn't constitute legal tender, that's commodity. Koines hayafis, meshich on that gets you the proper legal tender. Vayafis ain't koines royce, but a kinyan on the yafis doesn't get you the royce. Asiman koines hamatbeya, you make a kinyan on a unminted slug. Okay, it's like a piece of precious metal, it's a commodity. So yeah, the kinyan on that affects the matbeya, gets you the matbeya because the sale has not been executed, but not the kinyan on the matbeya. Matbeya ain't koines asiman. And finally, we have metatlan. You make a kinyan on a car. Koines hamatbeya. Now you deserve to get paid because the kinyan has been executed. But a matbeya ain't koines metatlan. Call a metatlan koines eseh. Let's say you flip two items. So yeah, whether you're using a kinyan chalipin, Rashi says, which is a special kinyan which allows you to flip two things, so or you're considering the second item as payment for the first item. Either way, once you make a meshicha, that triggers the process. Ketzat. Let's say I'm buying some bananas, so I did Mashiach on the bananas, I didn't yet pay you for it. I can't change my mind because the kinyan has been executed. But conversely, if I took receipt of the money, but there was no Mashiach on the pairs, they can change their mind because the process has not yet been completed. But this is not really a proper way to approach things. You're not meant to go back on your word. Chacham said, Misha Pora Hashem, who applied retribution. People at the Mabul's time, which weren't the most honest people. Likewise, the people who dispersed when they built the Tower of Babel. So all those Einshim should be applied to this person who doesn't stand by his word and cancels deals for no, apparent reason. Who asali para Hashem is going to punish a person who does not stick to his words. Now the Tanakam, the Chachamim hold, until you make a mishicha on the peris, anybody, the seller or the buyer, can really technically cancel the deal. Reb Shimon disagrees. Reb Shimon only the seller can do so. Kol shakasa b'yadi, the seller who has the money, he can change his mind. Yada al yan, he has the upper hand, but not the buyer. Then we'll explain exactly what, why, and when. So bottom line, the Mishnah teaches us a very important principle that a mishicha, which is being used to trigger or to conclude a deal, is only effective when applied to the peris aspect of the deal and not to the money aspect. Now, when it comes to gold versus silver, right, gold coins versus silver coins, so according to our version in our Mishnah, the first item in the Mishnah, we consider gold as the peris versus kesef as the mois. But Masnili Rebbe HaKadosh, who compiled the Mishnah, he was learning with his son, and he taught his son Reb Shimon Brei, Hazav Koines HaKesef, right? As per our Mishnah, Zav is called the peris versus the kesef, as we explained, because Rashi explained it, because the kesef is charifi linotim beitzo, which means to say the marketplace is ready to accept silver. It seems to be more of a common and a more commonly used currency and a more popular way of paying for things. So, and for that reason, we consider kesef as the currency. That was Rebbe's a lesson to his son. Amalei, so Rabbi Shimon, the son, turned to his father and he called him Rebbe, my teacher. You recall in your youth, in your young age, you flipped it around. You consider the gold coin as the money part of the deal because gold is more prominent, more expensive, more valuable. HaKesef koines hazav. So kesef is the peris versus the gold, and therefore the kinyan is meant to be taking place on the kesef. Now in your older age, you're flipping it around and you're saying Hazav koines hakesef. So there are two versions of this halacha. And the Gemara is going to try to explore, why this shift in attitude. And there is merit to each approach. Bialduse ma'asavar, ubeziknuse ma'asavar. What was his opinion in his youth when he considered the gold coins as currency, as legal tender, as the money aspect, and ubeziknuse ma'asavar. And in his older age, why did he flip it around and considered the silver coins as legal tender and currency versus the zav? Explains the Gemara. But Yalduse Savar, in his early days, he held dahava dechashav habitiva. Gold coins, which are more prominent, more valuable, that's called money. Kaspat lechashav, as opposed to silver coins, isn't as prominent, isn't as valuable. Avipera, that constitutes a commodity. And the kinyan done on the silver, which is the peres, get you the money, that concludes the deal. That was the former version. But later on, he flipped it around. It's all about practicalities. Kas for the charev havitiva. Silver coins, which are more readily accepted at the marketplace. Rashi calls it over l'soicher. It's a more popular way of paying for things. That's called money. That's local currency. The havid l'charev, gold coins, as fancy as they are, but they're not the most commonly used things. Have a pair that constitutes commodity. The currently pair l'tiva. And a kinyan on the pairs get you the money. So bottom line, is it about value and prominence? That was the first version. Versus practicality and commonality and popularity. That was the later version. Amar Rav Ashi, I'll do same mistavra. I think it's more probable to go the earlier version. It's about value. Gold was considered legal tender vis-a-vis silver. Why? Take a look at the next part of the Mishnah. And that would sort of show us that apparently the old version was correct. Because as Rashi says, Stam Mishnah is Reb Meir, and probably Rebbe, who was a Talmud of Reb Meir, heard from Reb Meir that that in fact the gold is considered the legal tender because that's more consistent with the next part of the Mishnah, which typically reflects Reb Meir's Shita. Stam Mishnah reflects Reb Meir. Okay, so what does the Mishnah continue? Next part of the Mishnah, next step is matching up. Copper, right? Prutas, in our language, pennies, right? Pennies to the quarters, to the silver coins. What constitutes a commodity? Nechoshes, right? Nechoshes kenes hakesef. So in this context, we say that once again, silver coins are considered legal tender vis-a-vis copper. So now, if you go with the first version, the earlier version of things, that comparing silver to gold, again, everything here is talking about coins. Not talking about bullion or just precious metal. We're talking about within the coin family, within the currency family. So this type of metal versus that type of metal, how do we match it up? So bottom line, if we go with the formula, the earlier formula of Rebbe, which is that silver coins versus gold coins, right? The silver is called Perahavi because of the prominence of the gold. So in that matchup, silver is Peres. And that's where the Mishnah has to go now and trouble itself to bring out the next point. No, actually, in a different context, in a different matchup, silver takes on a new role. So silver versus copper, silver now is considered the money aspect. That's why the Mishnah goes on to say, we match up silver with copper with silver. The Nechayshis in this case is called Iperis. Because although when matching up silver with gold, the silver is considered Peris because it doesn't match up with the gold. Still in all, when you match it up with copper, which is less prominent than silver, now the silver took on a new life, a new identity, a new label. It's called money. But we go with the other approach, which is our girsa and our mission, that matching up silver to gold concludes with silver being considered legal tender, being considered the currency. So why is there any need to expound on a matchup between silver and copper? Look, if even silver versus gold, and gold is way more valuable, more prominent, what do we say? Amrs Tibahavi, we say that no, silver, due to its practical side, is considered tiva, considered the money. Certainly the Gabi Nechoshes. Certainly if you match up silver with copper, where silver has two advantages over copper. The Gabi Nechoshes, the Iyu Chashiv, number one, silver is more valuable, more prominent. Number two, Iyu Charev. And it's more over l'seicher. It's more commonly used in the market. So certainly. Boy, do we even have to speak about this? Says the Gemara, yeah. Israel, there will be a reason to speak about it. Perhaps I would say, because these copper coins, these pennies, Ba'asr the Sagi, true. Not in all marketplaces do they accept, sometimes they say no pennies allowed, right? Not always do they. But in places where they are happy to accept pennies, Ba'asr the Sagi, they're more popular than even silver. So perhaps perhaps that grants them the status of currency. Kamashman the Chiddush is no. No, since in some locales they don't go with copper, rather they insist on silver coins, Perahavi. So now copper constitutes commodity, as opposed to silver, which is currency, because silver is universal. Okay, so we thought we had it right from the Mishnah, like the old version of Rebbe, and we concluded otherwise. But Va'af Rabbi Chia Savar. It seems that Rabbi Chia, who was Rebbe's uncle, who was Rav's uncle actually, also went with the opinion that Savar Dahava Tivahavi, that gold actually assumes the status of a currency versus a silver. Why? How do we know this? The Rav Oisif Dinri Mibarted Reb Chia. Rav one time borrowed some gold coins from Reb Chia's daughter, so basically his cousin. On Saiv Yakid Dinri, it turns out that the gold coins increased in value, which creates an issue for ribbis, right? So he came to Reb Chia. What a shayla, what should I do? Amalei says, pay it up in full. Zil Shalma, pay her up. Tavanat Kil, the best and the most, full weight. Don't cut any corners. Fully weighted gold coins. How could he do that? Now, let's analyze the psak. If gold coins are considered tiv of money, so money is a static entity. It has inherent value, so to speak. $100. Shoppers. That explains why you can pay her back the exact amount of coins that he took, despite the fact that it has more buying power. You don't attribute the increase in value to the currency. You say, milk dropped in price. You don't say the dollar's worth more, right? So he didn't give her more than he took. Eli Amras Perahavi. But if you go the other approach, which is the approach of our Mishnah, that gold coins, it's called Peres. So Havali Saba Saba Asr. So just as you can't borrow, a saw of let's say flour and give it back a saw of flour, because if it goes up in price, you're in trouble. You gave him more than you took. So if you borrowed, a certain amount of precious metal, i.e. gold coins, and now it's worth more, you're giving him back more than you took, because we attribute the added value to the actual gold. Says the Gemara, no. Rav didn't Rahavili. Rav really had his own supply of golden coins, and that diminishes. That sort of preempts the whole issue of ribbis. Given the Havili didn't, since he had his own supply of gold coins, even when he borrowed, he had his own place that he. It's as though he told her when he took the loan, Halveni, just lend it to me for a couple of minutes. It's not a real loan. Until my son comes around and he delivers my stuff. Oh yeah, I can find the key to get to the place. That's how Allah we're going to see Bez Hashem in the next parak Ezer Neshech. So basically, this whole idea of sa, avoiding this type of arrangement is only when you don't have it. But if you have your own supply and you can technically just give it to this lender right away, so it's looked at as just like a temporary favor, not like a real loan arrangement. In which case, even if the item eventually goes up in value, there's no issue, because whatever you already had in your possession was as if it was given over to that person right away, as if it was committed to him. So we don't view it as a long-term arrangement, long-term loan, which would appear like ribbis. Amar Rava. I'll bring you another source to this idea that gold is considered a currency as opposed to commodity. Amar Rava, Hay Tana Savar David Tibahavi. The following Tana as well seems to hold that golden coins are considered legal tender rather than a commodity. This Sanya, we have a Bryce. Many times in Mishnayos, Gemara, we discuss a pruta. What's the value of a pruta? Pruta Shamru is Echad Mishmoina B'Yisar Italki. It's an eighth of an Italian Isar. That's what it is. What's the point of this? Why do we need to know the value? The Kedusha Isha, for instance, to know the required value for a Kedushin, right? Which is a minimum of a pruta. Next, what's an Isser? How much is that worth? Echad me'esrim ba'arba b'dina shel kesef. 1 silver dinar gets you 24 Isser. So you know how much that is. What's the point of this? To know when you're getting a fair deal, right? In exchange for your dinar, you should be getting 24 Isarim. And finally, dinar shel kesef. What's the value of a silver dinar? So we sort of are progressing upwards. What's the dinar's kesef? It's a 25th of a gold dinar. Echad be'esrim v'chamish of dinar shel zav. What's the point of learning this? So when you redeem your firstborn child, we know you give the kohen 5 salaim. Each sel has 4 dinar. Okay? So let's say you gave the kohen, instead of giving him 5 times 4 dinar, which is 20 dinar, you gave him a gold dinar. Gold dinar is 25. So you deserve back 5, which is 20% of that value. That's a standard formula. You give him a dinar zav, the kohen gives you back 20%. Now, this all makes very, very much sense if the Tana regarded the dinar shel zav, that gold coin, as tiva, as money, as legal tender, as currency. Mishayir Tana b'midah the kites. So that explains why the Tana set forth this formula, because it's a set formula, it's a static situation, it's not changing. So even if the gold coin can buy more or buy less, doesn't matter. It's still the same entity, in which case you give it to the coin, you get back 20%. Early Amras Perahavi, but according to the other approach, that gold coins constitute payres, which is a fluctuating entity. Commodities, merchandise, those things go up and down in value. If it's Perahavi, Mishayir, Tana, B'midi, the Oike Brazil, so why would the Tana get involved in telling you this thing? Because basically, it's not a consistent thing, it's not a static entity. It fluctuates. Gold fluctuates. It can go up in value. It can go down in value. Right? So Zimnan, the Mahadli Kahana, so let's say you chose to use a gold dinar for Pidin Ben. How much are you going to get back? Well, you have to look at the market. How much is the gold coin worth today? Can you buy more gold, silver coin, or less silver? And basically, based on that, you're going to be getting back change. Sometimes you'll be getting that change, sometimes not. Maybe if the gold dropped so drastically, you're going to have to add to the kohen. The zimnin the mahal. Sometimes the kohen will give you some change, but sometimes not. The zimnin the moisivli. Sometimes you'll have to add to the kohen because the gold coins were so little. So the fact that the Tana seems to be establishing it as a set formula indicates to us that gold is a non-fluctuating entity. A gold coin is a gold coin. And you're always getting back 20% as change. That proves our point. Tanan Hasam, here comes another Mishnah, Mesechas Maser Sheni. Before we continue, let's just recap, bottom line. The idea here is that when you pay for an item, the item that you're buying is called pairs, and the Mashiach takes place on that, and that triggers the whole process. That concludes the kinyan, and entitles the seller to his money. Now, what constitutes money? What constitutes a commodity? So according to our approach, our Mishnah, it's about what's regarded as a more popular, more common form of payment. So when it comes to gold versus silver, it's silver. Silver versus copper, it's silver, etc., etc. Tanan Asam, we have a Mishnah Mesechas Maser Sheni. V'shama imrim lo yasa adam sla'av din rizav. So a fellow had, produce growing in his field, which required Maser Sheni deductions. He takes the Maser Sheni, but he's going to bring it to Yerushalayim in a couple of months. In the meantime, he's going to transfer the holiness onto money, right? So the Kedusha gets Neschal onto money. And he has Slaim. Slaim are these silver coins. And it's getting a bit much for him to carry, so he's going to convert them to more valuable coins, which would decrease the amount of coins, obviously, right? So you shouldn't bump it up. He can't bump it up. You can't convert it to gold dinar. Misil matir, misil say you can do that. Okay, now we have two ways of explaining the machlekes. Got to hold on tight. Rabbi Yehuda, Reish Lakish. There's machlekes between these two amiroim. Chad amar machlekes b'slaim al dinar. So basically, he's trying to switch silver for gold. So machlekes is regarding slime over to dinar. Okay? Silver to gold. The Bishamar Sabri, Kaspa Tiva. They have a pair. Bishamar go with basically the formula set forth in our Mishnah that Dahava is, Kaspa is Tiva, Dahava is Pera. Silver coins are regarded as money, gold coins as Peris. V'tiva apera lemechalilam. You can't do that anymore. You can't take, that's Allah Maser Sheni. You can't take Maser Sheni money and convert it onto Peris. You want to take it to Yerushalayim and buy with it food, but you can't do chilul on a commodity. So it doesn't work. Ubi sila savri, we still go with the other approach, like Rebbe's first, version. That is the other way around. V'sila savri kaspa pera, but the habativ, it's all about prominence, value. In which case, the gold, the hava is the tiva. The gold is considered the money here. And kaspa, the silver, is peris. So you're good to go. Pera, tiva machalim, you can take silver and move it on to gold because it's peris onto money. So that's the machlekes. Aval peris al dinarin. But let's say you're starting off the whole process. You have Maser Sheni fruit right here. You want to convert the kedusha onto dinar and gold coins. You can do that. There's no question. You all agree you can do that. Because in this context, meaning coins versus food, even if it's gold coins, it certainly constitutes money. Gold versus silver, not. Maybe not. But gold versus bananas, of course the gold is money. My time and why? Bava Kessler Beisilo. Just like, according to Beisilo. They just finished telling us that, if it's gold versus silver, silver is not really regarded as the having that money title, right? Right? So Kessel Beisilo, according to Beisilo's approach, money is what? If it's silver coins in a matchup with gold coins, no match, right? Perahavi. Silver is called Paris. That's only because it's being matched up with gold. So relative to gold, right? But Lagavi Peritiva Havi. But certainly if you match up the silver coins with bananas, I'll all agree that you can convert the bananas into silver coins because in this matchup, of course, the silver coins are considered money. So just as that's true, Zahav Nami Beishamai. Same thing with the gold according to Beishamai. Even if when you match up the gold to the silver, the gold is called Peres, But relative to bananas, of course, it's called money. L'gabe pera tiva havi. So that's one approach. V'chad amar, the other one disagrees. Between Riech and Rish Lakish, right? So the other approach to the machlekes b'sham v'sil is like this: V'chad amar afi peris al dinar machlekes. No, not so simple. Even if you take gold coins and match it up with bananas, so according to so we'll have the same machlekes, which means that according to Beis Shammai, gold is peris. You can't do chilul on it. According to Basil, it's okay. Asks the Gemara, "L'man Amar af peris al dinar machlekes." According to the second approach, in all situations, gold coins are called peris. According to Beis Shammai, even if you're trying to convert, even if you're trying to transfer the kedusha from peris, from the bananas onto the gold coins, you have the same machlekes. Adam iflagi b'slan al dinar. So why get involved in gold versus silver? Speak about a more basic case, which is a bigger chiddush. Instead of speaking about converting slime to dinrin, silver to gold, live like Paris al dinrin. Just speak about bananas onto gold coins. That's a huge chiddush to say that according to Beis Shammai it doesn't work. You're right. Ifluk Paris al dinar. If we had presented machlekes like that, how about I would think machlekes is only there. Hanamilu Paris al dinar. It's only when you're trying to transfer from the bananas onto the gold coins you have a machlekes. Aval b'slan are different, but when you're going from slime, which are silver coins, to dinar, which are gold coins, perhaps all agree you can't do that because the gold coins vis-a-vis these silver coins don't qualify as tender. Moidlan, Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, even Beis Hillel would agree to Beis Shammai that the Havel Gabi Kaspa, when you match up gold coins which aren't so popular and useful to silver coins, Peravi, the Havel Gabi Kaspa, Peravi, gold is considered a commodity, and you can't push through this process. You can't do the Chilul in this case. Kamashwan, the point is no. Even there, even when you're matching up gold coins to silver coins, even there, Beis Hillel hold. Even there, Beis Hillel hold it works. Because they hold that that the gold is actually more prominent and constitutes ma'is, kamashmul. So that's what this time. Now, basically, you realize what happened. We had a Mishnah. Then we had the old version of Rebbe, the new version of Rebbe, and basically the crux of the point was, what carries the day? Value, prominence, such as in the gold coin. That was the old version. And the new version, our Mishnah hold, no, it's about what's commonly used as currency, in which case it's silver. And it seems like the same, it's basically a recurring discussion because Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are discussing that very same point again. Okay. Now, to stein the Rabbi Yehuda the Amr ein mechalan. Now, how far reaching is this machlekes? So we had Rabbi Yehuda and Rish Lakish, right? One of them held that, according to Beis Shammai, gold coins are called peris. It's not good for anything. You can't even take bananas and transfer the kedusha onto gold. And we want to conclude that Rabbi Yehuda is the one that has that opinion in Beis Shammai. To stein the Rabbi Yehuda, who the Amar ein mechalan, not Rabbi Yehuda, because we find that Rabbi Yehuda elsewhere seems to hold that gold coins, even inherently, not just when it's matched up vis-a-vis silver, gold coins don't constitute legal tender. It has value, like a precious metal, but it's not really considered money. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda also little bit dinar medina. Just like we said before, you can't, borrow commodities with the intent of returning it after a while because it might go up in value. That's ribis. So same with gold coins. You can't be live also little bit dinar medina. You can't borrow a gold coin today to return it in a week because then it might go up in value, and you're giving it more than you got because the fluctuation in value is attributed to that thing. It's a commodity that goes up and down in value. It's not money which stays static. It has fluctuation. Now, dinar demai, what type of metal we speak? What type of dinar? Ilim dinar shel kesef. Dinar shel kesef. Are we speaking about borrowing and returning a silver coin? That's not an issue. That's pure money. A gold coin relative to itself, meaning inherently, not matching it up with silver. Is there anybody in the world that would disagree that it's not currency? Of course it's currency. And we don't attribute fluctuation in value to the currency itself. There's no issue of ribis. Ela pshita din shazav. Oh, apparently we're speaking about borrowing a gold coin, b'din shazav, and returning that gold coin. So you're borrowing gold and you're giving back gold. You can't do that. That's Rabbi Yehuda speaking. Ulaman. Now, whose shita is he following? Ila Beis Hillel. He's going like Beis Hillel. Ha'amri tivahavi. Beis Hillel clearly told us otherwise. That a gold coin is called the currency. There's no issue there. Elav Beis Shammai. Oh, apparently he's following Beis Shammai. And Tosi says, not that Rabbi Yehuda is passing like Beis Shammai, he's explaining Beis Shammai shita. Ushmamina, and it's clear from here that Rabbi Yehuda holds that Beis Shammai take it a step further. Ein mechalin. You consider gold as merchandise, as a commodity, as a precious metal, and you can't even convert the bananas onto the gold. So even when it's not in the context of, a gold-silver matchup, gold on its own is not considered money. No, says the no. No, perhaps Rabbi Yehuda was the other sheet. That it's only the gold-silver matchup which downgrades the gold into a commodity, but gold versus bananas, of course it's considered money. So why then can you borrow gold coin? You know why a loan is different? Since in certain contexts gold coins are considered a commodity, such as when you're doing that transaction. Because there we say, we attribute the fluctuation in value, Oiker and the Zil, the up and the down in value to the gold. It's considered merchandise. Right? That was the way we looked at the gold-silver matchup. Right? The gold is considered a commodity vis-a-vis the silver. So since in some cases gold has that status, so even when you're just dealing with gold on its own, independently, you're borrowing and returning gold, it appears is it has that element of merchandise, element of commodity, element of fluctuation. It looks like, hey, 1 second, he's giving back more than he took. Even though technically speaking, it's not so, because it's regarded as pure money. In which case, the fluctuations are not attributed to the money. But in ribis, we have to, allay all impressions. We'll even prove as such to Chiyas or Ravin. Rabbi Yehuda. When Ravin came, he quoted from Rabbi Yehuda. Although you're not meant to be borrowing gold coins with the intent of paying back gold coins because of this ribis impression. But you can use it for chil masasheni. You can convert the bananas onto the gold because, gold versus silver is problematic, but gold versus a banana, gold is called money. So it's a right from here that even Rabbi Yehuda holds as such. Tashma, just a couple more lines. Tashma, we're going to go back to that discussion between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel and figure out, exactly where the machlokes applies. Hapirid sela mimois masasheni. So this fellow has masasheni money in copper form, prutais, right? And he's trying to upgrade it to convert it to, to silver coins to make it easier to carry to Yerushalayim. So let's say he has $100, 100 pennies. Let's say a sela is $1, right? So he has 100 pennies worth of sela. You can do the whole thing, convert the whole thing into silver. No, half and half. B'shekel kesef, b'shekel mois. Half a sela, 50 cents, convert to silver, but the other 50 cents leave in copper form, b'shekel mois, so that when you get to Yerushalayim, not everybody's running to the banks, and it's going to hike up the whole demand. So leave some change to allow you to spend it in Yerushalayim. Bottom line, what does this fellow have in his possession? Copper coins of Maser Sheni. So clearly, even according to Beis Shammai, who are speaking in this Mishnah, right? This fellow has in his possession copper Maser Sheni money. So he transferred the bananas onto the copper coins. Of course, it goes without saying you can do it on gold. So of course it's allowed. Apparently, gold has inherent value when it's matched up with bananas, right? No, says the one, maybe copper has an advantage, believe it or not. Shani priti ba'asra desagid charifi, because, like we explained before, where they accept copper coins, where they like pennies, it goes like water. and more popular than gold coins. So perhaps that explains why copper coins have an advantage and regarded as currency, something which perhaps gold wouldn't have. So we didn't really conclude on that. Okay, bottom line, shlichus yad, physical shlichus yad certainly is a shlichus yad, but verbal, machlekes. The Mashiach happens on the Peres, and that makes the kinyan. What constitutes Peres? What constitutes mois? We basically had two versions, whether it's a matter of prominence, value, that was the old version of Rebbe, and the current version in the Mishnah goes the other way. It's all about over l'seicher, which coin is more commonly used, which is more popular. That constitutes kesef, and the rest is Peres. All the best to you, and Atzlacha Rabbah.